Well, this little dirty white puppy right here is Zero. She's only about 11 weeks old. She's been with us for about 2 weeks, and eventually she's going to have one of the most important jobs here on the entire homestead, protecting the animals that live here. Zero is her name, and she is a Great Pyrenees, and we're raising her to become a livestock guardian. But obviously, at 11 weeks old, well, she's not exactly out here fighting off predators just yet. Right now, her days mostly consist of getting filthy, playing outside, and following the animals around. Say hi, sweet girl. Oh, I know, you're so sweet. Yep, she's awesome. She's hanging out with her best friend, Arnold. Most definitely her best friend, Arnold the pig. You guys probably know we got a book series with Arnold and Bean the cat. Arnold is such a lover. He's awesome. So today I wanted to show you, where we're at with Zero, how we've, introduced her to life on the homestead, why we kept her contained when we first brought her home, and what we're hoping she'll eventually become out here at DiamondTrail Ranch. And if you've ever thought about getting a Great Pyrenees for your own homestead, well, you can follow along with us from pretty much the very beginning, because that's what we're doing. I was like, you know what? I said, here we go. So many people are talking about Great Pyrenees and livestock guardians and things like that. I said, hello, we just got one. This is perfect. So Zero, she was actually born June 3rd. Okay, so she's right around 11 weeks old. And even in the short amount of time we've had her, you can already see that this dog absolutely loves being outside. Yeah, she doesn't care if she's clean. And actually, judging by what she normally looks like, I think she actually prefers being dirty. She's funny. Zero, pretty girl. She's rolling around, digging, playing, following the animals, laying in the dirt, basically doing, everything possible to make sure that a white dog never actually stays white. That's perfectly fine with us. We didn't bring home a Great Pyrenees because we wanted a spotless white house dog. You know what I mean? We wanted a dog that could grow up around the animals and eventually become another layer of protection for this property. We have the goats, we have the pigs, we have the chickens, the ducks. We've got all kinds of animals. We got Red, Indy over there. Toby Keith, he's awesome. We'll have to do a video on Toby Keith. You guys haven't met him yet. So it's one of the things we're always thinking about on a homestead is safety for the animals. That's why we redid the fencing here. Okay, the way we actually, as you can see here, we put the chain link back up on the back side of our cattle panel with the boards here. So just another layer, Anyway, that's where Zero is eventually supposed to fit in all of the grand, homesteading and all of this, right? Not today, not next week, probably not for a while. She's a puppy, guys. She's a puppy. And this is where that process is gonna begin. When we first brought Zero home, we actually kept her in a kennel set up for about the first 2 weeks on the back porch, out of the weather. And there was this very specific reason for that. She was tiny, guys. Our biggest concern was the fencing. The property fenced, it's fenced for the animals we already have. And there's a huge difference between a fence, that's going to hold a goat or a pig, and a fence holding a little 8-9 week old puppy that can potentially find an opening you never knew you had. For example, I'll show you right here what I did. We took this, put this down for a second. So we took this, I cut out a gap to be able to open the gate here, right? And you can see what we did was a layer of extra protection so the animals can't get out. So this is only right here because she could fit right there on the fence. So we put this here in the way so she couldn't get through. So just an example. And then the chain link on the back because she can't push through there anymore. So the last thing we wanted to do is bring home this tiny puppy and immediately turn her loose in the backyard and discover, boom, gone. So no, not good. So we gave her some time. We're going to let her grow. She got used to us already pretty quickly, used to the animals. She loves it here. She's happy. She's doing good. She got used to the sounds and the smells. She could see the animals. And meanwhile, we could watch her, make sure she's comfortable with the setup. So far, she absolutely loves it. One thing that's been really important to us is that we don't expect an 11-week-old dog to somehow know every rule on the homestead. That's why she's pretty goofy with Arnold lately, and that's okay. She's still a baby. That's all right. We're not looking at Zero right now and saying, go protect the farm. Good luck. That's not how that works. At this stage, we want her to become comfortable with being around the other animals, and she's doing just that, okay? Her and Arnold are constantly grooming each other. Arnold's a little baby too. He's a tiny KuneKune pig. He's awesome. You know, we want chickens and ducks moving around the property to, you know, just be part of everyday life, you know, to her. So far, she's integrated surprisingly well. She's curious. She wants to interact, man. She wants to be out here, and she's already starting to build relationships with the individual animals. Take Arnold. You know, including, it's just these two, man, they're big time friends. You know, you'll see Zero around Arnold constantly. She wants to play with him all the time. She follows him around. Those two are best buds. It's funny. Bean is so jealous of these two. It's funny. Arnold seems perfectly happy, you know, having this giant fluffy puppy around as his buddy. And I love seeing that because right now that's what I want, you know. I don't need Zero patrolling the fence line like some veteran guardian dog at 11 weeks old. I want her developing the idea, you know, that these animals are part of her world. Okay, that's how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be part of her norm, right? So, you know, watch her become natural with the animals, comfortable. You know, that's where that's how you know you're in the right direction with your Great Pyrenees, okay? And it's also hilarious because of all the animals, guys, of all the animals she could be friends with, she picked the pig. I know we have Kuna back there too, but Kuna doesn't really get to come out too often. Arnold, for now, look at him zoned out over there, man. Zoned out. He's a little too small still to be in the same pen with Kuna. That's a whole nother topic though. The goats, on the other hand, with Zero, you know, they decided, unfortunately for now, that she needs to understand exactly where she stands in the homestead. Y'all ever heard of doe queens? Well, right now they're kind of all doe queens to her, in that, you know, they're letting her know where she is on the hierarchy. They'll push her around a little bit. They let her know where she is in their space. Zero is small enough that the goats aren't exactly intimidated by her. So, but I have a feeling that's going to change. You know, Bruno, our big dog, they see him and they're like, whoa, and he don't care. He's, you know, he's always freaked out. Problem with him is he sometimes will try. You can't leave him out here by himself because he might eventually try to go after said chickens and things like that. Obviously, you can see the dynamic here. She does not care about the chickens, which is great. Awesome. Actually, she's going to tower Bruno. You know, he's a big old dog, and she's probably going to tower him big time. So watching the goats for now get pushy with this little fluffy 11-week-old puppy here is funny and all, until you realize that eventually she's going to outweigh some of the animals giving her a hard time right now. You know, we're letting everybody get familiar with one another. It's kind of par for the course, pushing each other around. There's a balance. You know, you want the dog comfortable around the livestock. So that's how you do it, right? That's why we're treating this as a process rather than assuming that because she's a Great Pyrenees, you know what I mean? Everything will automatically be perfect from day one. That's just not how that works. So what is a livestock guardian dog? Okay, well, guys, if you're researching Great Pyrenees at all, you're thinking about getting one for a homestead, well, a livestock guardian is different from a herding dog. Okay, the goal isn't for Zero to move our livestock around. Nope. It's for her to eventually become part of the environment for these animals, these chickens, our friends, the pigs, the goats, and things like that. That's one of the things, you know, these dogs, this breed was actually developed to live around livestock and independently watch for threats. That's one of the things that make this breed so interesting. They're independent. They're supposed to notice things. They're supposed to think for themselves. So, and that also means raising one isn't necessarily the same experience. Oh, I know, that was funny. Sorry, one of the roosters jumped on the fence, and everybody around here, I say everybody, just went nuts. Right now, you know, we're seeing the very beginning of the process, the pup process, you know, so she sleeps, she plays, she gets dirty, she hangs out with Arnold, she gets pushed by the goats, right? She's an 11-week-old puppy enjoying life, regardless of breed. You know, you could say a breedless pup. You know what I'm saying with that, in the sense that she's just a puppy. So she's doing puppy stuff every day. She's also learning what normal life looks like around here, like that rooster, the big white one. Where did he even go? I saw him a minute ago. Anyway, he jumped up on the fence and then jumped back down. Scared the daylights out of all the animals right here, you know. The other rooster over here was like, oh, I need to let everybody know what's going on. They do that when crows and hawks and stuff come by. But anyway, she's just getting to learn the groove of things here. So over the next several months, that's what I'm really interested in. What we're watching, what we're documenting here with her, with Zero. When does she start becoming more aware of what's actually happening around the property? When does this goofy little puppy behavior turn into guardian behavior? Things like that, right? When is she going to start noticing weird noises at night? How's her relationship with the goats going to change? Will Arnold still be her best friend when she's a 100-pound dog? Pretty girl. Zero. It's a pretty girl. Yes, you are. You know, those are the things we want to come back and show you guys. So, yes, there will be updates with her. It's pretty awesome because you guys get to see her as a puppy. She's going to be, you know, bigger than this chair right next to her. She's going to be huge, man. Great Pyrenees get big. Yes, they do. So she's going to be awesome, you know. And if she does something wrong, we'll show it. That's what we do here, okay? I don't want this series to be, we bought a Great Pyrenees, therefore now, you know, it's the world's greatest livestock. That's not reality. That's not, okay. Guys, she's a puppy. We're learning her. She's learning us. Everybody out here is learning each other. So the goal's pretty simple. We want to build a homestead where the different pieces work together. The pigs have their role. The chickens and ducks have their role. The goats, you know, the gardens, the fruit trees. Eventually, Zero here, she's going to have her role too. So Livestock Guardian gives us another tool for protecting the animals that we put so much time into raising, right? So she has absolutely no idea how big she's going to be. She has no idea that we're eventually expecting her to look at, you know, after this place. So right now, she's just Zero, and that's fine. Okay, you know, it's incredible. It's going to be incredible watching this dirty little puppy run around the backyard for a while. So, and this is episode 1, essentially, of Zero's story here at DiamondTrail Ranch. She's transitioned into the backyard from that kennel. She's 11 weeks old. She's getting comfortable with the livestock. Arnold is her best friend right now. You know, the goats are still convinced they run the place. That's going to change, and it's going to have to change. So we'll keep updating you guys as she grows, because I think it's going to be really interesting to look back 6 months from now with her, you know, even a year, and see how much this little puppy, see how much of that puppy is still in the puppy, you know what I mean? So if you're raising a Great Pyrenees or another livestock guardian, I'd love to hear what you guys thought of those first few months. What did that look like for you guys? And if you want to watch Zero grow up here on the ranch, subscribe to our channel, because you're definitely going to be seeing a lot more of her. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one.